Sonic Colors Ultimate. SEGA's newest title and first remaster in a long time. Sonic Colors was a game that I played when I was a young boy, although I kinda sucked at it because the Wii controllers, and I was just a dumb child. You know, I was still 8 or 9, but I did have fond memories of playing the original Wii version, so I was pretty hyped to hear about Ultimate. Clearly it's been a very controversial topic among fans in the past couple days, so let's see how this review does. I should note that this channel is not being revived permanently, but only temporarily. This review thing is kind of just something I thought of, on a whim, so I figured I'd release it, put some effort into a video for once, and maybe get some views while I'm at it. Anyway, with that out of the way, I am playing the PC Digital Deluxe version of the game, so anything that I talk about in this video will be relative to that version of the game and not any other version. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's go. So the first thing I'm going to go over in this video is the story. Now, considering it's a remaster, the story isn't really going to be all that different, or any different at all for that matter, but there are a few things that I want to cover here. The writing is still fantastic, of course, Sonic Colors' classic writing.
Baldy nose hair!
The cutscenes in this game are not remade. As much as I wish they were being remade, they are only AI upscaled, which does look kind of weird and not super great, but I mean, it's what they chose to do. It kind of gives it a weird blurry effect sometimes when things move too much on screen, because the AI can't really take all that much movement, so it just freaks out. It's not all that visible, but it's there very often. The one thing I will say is playing this game again and listening to the story and watching the cutscenes and things like that, I realize how annoying Tails is. Tails is so frickin' annoying. I want him to shut up the entire game. His voice is so annoying, his lines are terrible. All of his lines are terrible, and the stupid Tails save in this game just makes it even worse. Okay, that's all I wanted to say about the story. Let's move on to the important stuff. So let's get into the meat of this video. Now let's talk about the gameplay. So, for the most part, I would say that this game does a pretty good job of recreating the Wii gameplay. I haven't really had many spots where I felt like it wasn't the same, or if it was too different. It still controls pretty much the same, and even if it doesn't feel the same, it feels like a Sonic game to me. I can play it with ease. Although Sonic tends to like to wall jump all over the place for some reason. Like, you make contact with the side of a platform or a wall or something, and you just instantly go flying. It's insane, and it's really hard to avoid sometimes. It does tend to lead you to your death as well, which has happened a few times to me, which is pretty annoying. But I guess I'll let it slide. It's not the biggest offense. We'll get to that later. The levels in this game are just as easy as they were before. I mean, they didn't really make them harder, and that wasn't the point of this remaster anyway. Honestly, the point of the remaster was to make it even easier somehow. And in a way, they kinda did that, I guess? I had no trouble playing this game, and I've played it like 3 times already. And it only took about maybe 2 to 3 hours each time. Like the levels, the bosses in this game are pretty easy. They're not changed at all, and they're really not too difficult to beat, especially if you've played this game already. The only thing I can really say was changed about the gameplay is the new Tails save feature, which I personally think is pretty pointless and isn't needed, but it's nice to keep your stuff when you die. Like your rings, your red rings, and any wisps you pick up. This feature was only really added to the game to make this game a little bit easier for newer players, which Sega should have known this game was already pretty easy. So if you've already played Sonic Colors, this feature's probably not all that important to you. Oh yeah, there's a new mode where you can race Metal Sonic in certain levels if you collect enough red rings in the stage. It's fine, I guess. I mean, it's really just playing the stage over again, but instead you have to beat someone to the end. I mean, they didn't need to add it, but I guess bonus content is bonus content. Anyway, let's move on to my first big problem with the gameplay. I'd like to introduce you to Big Chaser, or as I like to call him, the Big Purple Fucker. This guy appears at the end of Aquarium Park Act 4, as well as the end of Terminal Velocity Act 1. Now, when you see this guy, your first instinct is to run, of course. But for some reason, that's my problem. I can't run away from him. So, in Aquarium Park Act 4, you're given boost right before the section. So my first instinct was to try boosting. Now, for some reason, it seems like boosting itself doesn't let you escape from him. And what makes it even worse is that in this section, you can't jump, and he throws punches at you. You can't jump over the punches. I don't know why you can't do that, because you can do it in Terminal Velocity Act 1 just fine. I don't understand it. So then whenever you do try boosting, you just run at the same speed. So what I've found is that you have to quick step. I mean, it tells you to quick step, which makes sense just to collect the stuff on the road, but like, why would you do that to go faster? That doesn't make any sense. And it seems like the quick stepping trick only really works in Aquarium Park, and not in Terminal Velocity. Or when it does work in Terminal Velocity, it's very, very rare, and very uncommon. The only consistent way that I've gotten to escape from this guy is jumping over and over and over and over and over again. Maybe I'm just stupid? Because I feel this was way easier on the Wii version. And, in the Wii version, on Terminal Velocity, when the Big Chaser is behind you, there's a big prompt that comes up and tells you what to press. But in the Ultimate version, there's a sound that plays of the same sound, but there's no fucking prompt that comes on the screen. The prompt graphic is broken. It literally doesn't appear on the screen. Out of all the things that could be broken in this part of the game, it's the fucking prompt telling you what to do. And then whenever you die to the Big Chaser, inevitably, because you don't know what you're doing, you have to start the whole act over again. And I played this like 20 times. The highest rank I've gotten in this is an A rank. And that's me trying really goddamn hard to get a goddamn S rank. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get an S rank on this, and if I do, it will be by sheer fucking luck. I should also point out, this is another one of my big issues with Sonic games, where the final boss is way easier than the level that comes right before it. Like, Terminal Velocity is so fucking difficult, and I don't know why it's so difficult. It's mainly difficult because of the stupid big purple fucker at the very end of the level. It's so stupid. I've had this same issue in Sonic Generations, which I explained in my video, in Sonic Adventure 2, and even in games like 06 and Lost World, this is a problem, where the final boss is so much easier than the final level that comes right before it. It just why? It doesn't make any sense. The final boss should be difficult. It's the final fucking boss in the game, the final fight, the thing that you send off the game with, and it's just easy. But you can't just do that. The only game in the recent years that I've had where the boss was actually more difficult than the prior level was Sonic fucking Forces. I'm not even joking. Granted, that boss was a little more annoying than it was actually difficult, but it still counts! Whew. That's enough ranting. Let's move on to the next section of this review. Let's talk about this game's graphics for a second. This game's graphics have been a very controversial type topic since even the trailer for this game. The graphics are actually updated, and I personally think they look pretty good. Some background visuals are still flat to the images though, like wisps and things like that. I've heard hate about the overuse of quote-unquote bloom or whatever. It's honestly not as bad as people say it is. I think it looks alright, and I do like the new Sonic model, even though he just kind of glow a little bit. The level graphics do look good. My personal favorites being Tropical Resort and Starlight Carnival. All the bright lights just make everything glow so much better. I think making something just a little bit brighter in this game makes a lot of the details pop out a lot more. I really do wish they had remade the cutscenes though. So before I get to the big part of this video, I'd like to talk about the bonus that is in this game. You know, all the extra stuff they add to this game to make it just slightly different from the Wii version. So we have a new options menu. Looks pretty cool. It's got a nice little model of Sonic just kind of running there. There's a music player in this game, which is pretty neat. It allows you to listen to really any tracks that play in the game. You can even rewatch the cutscenes here if you want to. There is unlockable music too, like the Rival Rush music and the Supersonic music. Speaking of Supersonic, he's got his own section here now too. It shows all the Chaos Emeralds you have collected, or have not collected. It even tells you how to get the Chaos Emeralds if you don't know how, which is pretty neat. This game also has many achievements, which is not super uncommon for a Sonic game, and it's nice to have them return again here. But my favorite part of the options is the customizable costume. Now, I'm a big sucker for customizable options. I am that guy that buys like $50 worth of TF2 hats. When I first saw that you could customize Sonic's gloves and shoes, I wasn't really all that excited for it. It was just like, yeah, whatever, that's pretty cool. But honestly, I really like this feature. It's pretty cool, and there's tons of options here. And for the most part, all of them don't really cost all that many park tokens. Which I forgot to explain that. Park tokens are these little tokens that are scattered around every level in the game, except for Terminal Velocity. They're in large quantities, and they're basically how you buy all the customizable options. That's all they're really used for. Though there are some options that are locked behind the deluxe edition of this game, like the movie Sonic stuff. You can also customize this weird icon thing. I'm not really sure why they added this, because it isn't really used anywhere outside of the Rival Rushes, at least from what I've seen. But they do feature a lot of other SEGA characters here, which is a nice tribute to those games. Now let's move on to my favorite part of this review. Let me just say this very clearly. I f***ing love the new remixes. They bring so much new life to the originals and have such cool spins on them. Most of them have been transformed into this kind of EDM type of style with a good amount of synth and electronic drum sounds. I've seen a lot of back and forth with the fans about whether the music is good or not, you know, whether it's any better or if it's worse. And while I don't necessarily think this can really replace the original soundtrack, I do think these remixes are very good. And as a musician, my ears tend to pick up a lot more things in music that most of the people either can't or just don't. Which only makes me like these songs like 10 times more. Alright, let me just go over all these songs real quick. All the songs in Tropical Resort are being reinforced by this jazzy, almost bluesy kind of piano style with these super crazy chords. And Act 3 has got this killer bass part. Honestly, it's impossible to listen to Act 3 without jamming along to it. Sweet Mountain is kind of eh. I never really liked the original track or even the original stage to begin with, but I kinda like the remixes. I don't really know how I feel about this MIDI sounding orchestra though. It just doesn't sound all that great compared to the original, which seems to be a pretty common opinion about the specific song. Again, there's piano reinforcing these tracks, but I am kinda sad that they didn't have nearly as much guitar as they did in the originals. Starlight Carnival. Holy shit, are these songs so goddamn good. The new Act 1 track has punchier bass and drums, and it has these awesome guitar tracks in there that just make the song blow up. This is by far my favorite stage and song from the original, so I'm very glad that they make it hold up so well in this version of the game. In Act 2, they totally flip the track upside down and turn it into some super electronic sounding beat, which is really nice. Planet Wisp. While I do really like these remixes, I feel like the calmness of the original tracks better suit the aesthetic of the stage as a whole, though these remixes do go really goddamn hard. If you want to talk about like extreme dance party music, this is it right here. Act 2's got this intro that's pretty much new to the song entirely, which is neat. Aquarium Park. I believe that Aquarium Park Act 1 was the first remix that SEGA released before the release of the game, which, for the most part, it was a pretty good pick. This one is really good. The melody is being taken over by this kind of Japanese-sounding instrument, which is really nice, and it gives it a good vibe. I'd say it fits the stage pretty well. Asteroid Coaster. I've never really been one to remember this stage or its music, mainly because it was at the very near end of the game. but the remixes do sound really good. They've got some really nice guitar tracks and drum sounds, and I really like the way Act 3's intro sounds. Terminal Velocity. Again, holy shit are these songs so goddamn good. Terminal Velocity was another one of my favorites from the original, ironic because of how difficult the stage is. I'm very happy they made this one as heavy as they did. You know, being a true metalhead, I love me some heavy guitar and drum work. This new drum part is insane. It's got double bass and crazy fills all over the place. It's awesome. And Act 2 has got like 10 times more energy all over the place. It's just so goddamn good. All of the boss music in this game is pretty good. Although I don't really even remember much of the originals for how short the bosses were. It seems they've really only added maybe some guitar and maybe some extra drum parts. That's about it. The SEGA Wisp Armor themes got redone, and they were made to sound just a little bit more orchestral and more powerful. I haven't personally listened to the original from start to finish yet, because that's what happens when you make your boss 2 minutes long and you put a 5-minute track on it. But from what I've heard in-game and from very short comparisons, it is pretty good sounding. It's still not a very convincing fake orchestra though. It's very obvious it's still fake. Okay, that was a lot of talk about music. Somehow I knew this would take forever. We didn't even get into some of the brand new tracks like the new intro and the credits theme, or the Rival Rush music. Although the new intro is kind of reaching anime intro levels, and I'm not sure how much I like that. Plus the drums are changed in a way I don't really like them. And the new credits theme is not bad, but I just don't think the EDM style fits as well as the other tracks. Just know all the same, I do like the new music. But I do kind of wish they would give an option to change it. So if you wanted only new, or only old, or even split between the 6, so then everyone's happy. The only option in game is that to have the first 3 acts with new music, and the other 3 with the old. Although Planet Wisp's remixes are locked behind the deluxe edition, for some reason. Alright, let's move on to the serious part of this video. Oh boy. Where the hell do I even begin with this? Sonic Colors Ultimate was released early to certain people by SEGA. They were given review codes to get a little bit of a taste of the game earlier than everyone else, even earlier than those that pre-ordered the deluxe edition like I did. Those few days where people with review codes were out was a shocking time. I remember being on Twitter and seeing all the insane broken textures, models breaking and freaking out, people talking about sound issues, and then seeing those insane videos of the Switch version that were so bad, they had seizure warnings on them. Like, I'm talking so bad, even if you're not epileptic, it still hurts your eyes. It's so fucked up. Okay, let's get into it. This game, sadly, is extremely unpolished. It's pretty bad. I can let games get away with things sometimes, but this is just terrible. Now, I myself can't say that my experience was anywhere hindered by the unpolishedness that is this game, because I so happen to order the best version of this game, being the PC version. At the time of writing the script for this video, I have around 20 hours of playtime, and in that playtime, I've only had 2 crashes, and they were when I first played the game, and then it crashed again when I recorded footage for this game. I also have encountered very minor graphical errors. There may have been more in the game that I've even seen myself. Most of them are so tiny they're not even very visible. But there are some crazy flickering lights that do occur sometimes. The only big issue I had and still have is with the audio. It's basically unavoidable and random. Sometimes songs play on only one side of the stereo field, or sometimes just not at all. Most of the time this is an issue with Wisp themes, or the victory jingle just not playing. Sometimes that short theme doesn't play when starting a Rival Rush either. Also, the sounds in this game, in general, are just mixed so bad. There's some sound effects that are like 2 times louder than all the others, mainly the homing attack sound. Oh my god, it's so fucking loud. And there's no option to adjust the sound and music separately. That's so stupid. It's such an easy addition, I'm surprised it's not already there. Other than that, there are some general things that just need to be fixed. Here's just a few examples that I could find myself. Sonic walks really weird on the hub worlds for some reason. It's like he's stuttering. Enemies that fall down from platforms literally zoom down at near unavoidable speeds. The rockets in Sweet Mountain have literally no explosion effect, they just pop like a balloon. Sonic's animation when falling at the start of Starlight Carnival Act 3 is kind of fucked up. The coasters in Asteroid Coaster are weird to jump off sometimes. When going in water, the water filter effect covers the entire screen, rather than only a portion of the screen, even if part of the screen is above the water, like an Asteroid Coaster. There's a boost pad in Asteroid Coaster Act 2 that makes you go super light speed. There's also a few boost pads in Aquarium Park that don't quite work right either. The egg robos with guns shoot way too fucking fast. Almost unavoidably fast. There's a rail section in Planet Wisp that if you fall off of, Tails will save you, but will face you in the wrong direction, which leads you towards death again. Don't even get me started on the credits. I played this game in full twice, as well as a third time for all the footage I've recorded, and I think they actually felt longer the second and third time. They're nearly 30 minutes long! 30 fucking minutes of just credits! That's insane for credits! And they don't even have nearly enough music to fill up the silence, so it just goes quiet for the last like 15 minutes or so. I don't know how to feel knowing there's an hour and 30 minutes of my life I'll never get back. I guess the credits aren't nearly as bad as all the save corruption issues I've heard about from people, which has mostly been on console, so I'm very lucky I have not encountered this error quite yet. Honestly, I'm pretty glad I picked up the best version of this game, because had there been something or even a few things that would have stopped me from playing or even beating this game, I don't think I'd be as nice to it as I am being here. It really is a disappointment though. I was pretty hyped to see this game possibly do well. You know, Sega really needs to come back from this frickin' hole they've dug themselves in for the past, like, how many years? I don't even know. It's hard to name. But luckily, Sega's social media manager has stated that the criticism has been heard, and there is a patch in the works. And funny enough, at the time of me recording this, I think the Switch version has just been patched. All of those crazy light flickering things that I just showed are gone, at least according to the video that I just watched. Now, there's no patch out yet for PC, PS4, or Xbox One, as far as I'm aware. But I do expect there to be some sort of patch here soon, and how many things that will fix, in the end, is only one way to find out, and that's to wait. I really do like this game. I enjoy playing it. It's fun to me, and I think it does give new life to colors that I think a lot of people really wanted to see. Sure, there's a lot of disappointing things, but I'm willing to look past that for now until there's an update. I think there is a lot of stuff behind the scenes of this game that we don't quite entirely know just yet, so I'm not going to place blame on Sega or Blind Squirrel Games for anything that they've done. Until we get a patch for the game, I will not say anything too daunting just yet. But for now, I will give Sonic Colors Ultimate a 7.5 out of 10. A pretty good score for such a hated game right now, which, me liking a popularly bad Sonic game isn't news to anyone. I grew up with Heroes on the PS2 for fuck's sake, I should know. But anyway, that about wraps up this little review. I don't entirely know why I decided to do this, I just thought I should share my feelings about it. I guess it was nice to temporarily revive my channel before it burns into obscurity again. I don't really know how many people this video is going to reach though, but if you do happen to see this, and are new to my channel, and you like my content, I literally have never made a video like this before, so if you're here to see more content like this, then you're out of luck. I've already announced my channel to be kinda dead, and before then I was just doing subpar gaming videos. Sorry about that. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video, because it certainly took a lot of goddamn effort to make it. Goodbye now.